All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our weekly 30-minute webinar. My name is Dre Devots, a systems engineer here at Verify, and I'll be your host for today's session. Today, we're going to be walking you through how to isolate and report inbound, outbound, and internal calls in Webex calling. Here to present for us today will be Mike Stratton, a fellow systems engineer here at Verify. How you doing, Mike?
Good, Dre. How you doing?
Fantastic, sir. All right. Also, don't forget all of our webinars are recorded and posted within 24 hours. Just head over to verify.com/webinars and find all of our latest webinars. First, we'll start off with a quick overview of our company and what we do. Then we'll jump into a live demo where Mike is going to guide us through the how to isolate and report inbound, outbound, internal calls in Webex calling. We'll leave time for Q&A, so during the demo, if you have any questions, make sure to enter them by accessing the Q&A option in the bottom right-hand corner. After Q&A, we will award one lucky attendee a $50 Amazon gift card, so hang around to see if you've won. Verify is the preferred analytics and management solution for Cisco collaboration. Deployable either on-prem or as a hosted cloud solution, we provide industry-leading CDR reporting and call analytics, as well as customizable dashboards, widgets, UCCX reporting, remote phone control, change management, Cisco Cube CDR, and our latest additions, Zoom and WebEx call reporting. If you have any questions on any of our features, please contact us at support@verify.com or reach out to your account manager. One more thing before we kick this off, Verify offers an enhanced consulting service to our customers. A Verify SE team engages with you on a one-on-one basis to remotely provide additional consulting, report building, dashboard configuration, and system monitoring assistance. This is a service that provides you a dedicated Verify SC to do the heavy lifting, giving you a stress-free, hands-off experience. My apologies. For more information, please contact us or your account manager, and we'd be glad to speak more in depth about pricing and terms of our service for our enhanced consulting services, or what we call ECS. All right, I'm going to hand things off over to Mike now. Just remember, if you guys have any questions, put those questions in that Q&A panel. All right, I'm gonna stop sharing. I'm gonna give the ball to Mike. Boom.
All right. Let me make sure I'm sharing the right screen. Boom. Here we go. Thank you, Dre, and thank you everyone for hanging out with us today. Today should be a quick workshop or webinar. So basically, let me refresh this page too before I start from scratch. Today I'm going to kind of go over how to isolate and report on inbound, outbound, and internal calls, and just kind of like filter on call direction within Webex calling. So there's a couple different ways to build the search sets, and it really depends on the scope of the report, like whether you're running a report for a single user, you want to run it, or you want to run it for a group of users, or you want to run it globally for your entire organization. The search set you're going to use will depend upon the scenarios. So there's not just a single search set that I can build that'll show everything, but I'll show you in the detail. I'm going to do most of my searches in call history. That way I can show you the detail and explain how the data appears in the records. And then you can, when you're building your own reports, you kind of understand, and then use the proper criteria to include what you're looking for in the report. So first things first, let me jump into our WebEx lab. It defaults to Cisco. So in our Webex calling environment, this is running our current release 15.2.1. We have some like lab sample data in here. The first thing I'm going to do, always in the top right corner, configure my search time window. I think I'm going to look at not today's data, but day from previous day. Apply that, and then I have the option of when I'm searching to look at sequences or events. So just to kind of highlight this real quick, if you're new to Webex reporting or you're new, to really dig into this data, there's a difference between sequences and events. If you think of the word event, it's like the word event means something that happens. So like when a call goes into an auto attendant and then goes to a hunt group and then is presented to one or more agents, each little thing that happens is or it generates an event. So auto attendant call to a hunt group, call to an agent. We get one call record for the auto attendant, one for the hunt group, and then one for each agent. So one call is going to create multiple events because it's doing multiple things. So the events, when you're filtering or you're searching on the event, you're searching on the individual call legs. Um, and then if you're searching on the sequence, you're searching on all the legs together. So like if one leg in the sequence matches your search, you're pulling back the entire sequence. So for this, I'm only looking at the events. I'm going to ignore the sequences. And then, yeah, so we're off and running. So the main criteria or the easiest criteria to look at to see whether the call is inbound, outbound, or internal is this criteria, not this one here. It's towards the bottom of the list. It's called direction. Direction, if you add it to the list or add it to your criteria, it has three different options. You've got internal, originating, or terminating. So internal, of course, is internal calls. So if I just view everything that's internal, this will go out and pull back all the calls where the call direction is internal, and it should come back in a couple seconds here. There we go. So it pulls back 2,000 calls or almost 3,000 calls. And I've added direction to my history search results. So if you're not familiar with history, if you want to change the columns here, click on show hide columns, and then in the list on the left-hand side, you'll find direction. It'll be sitting under the signaling section. And in any of our search or lists, there's always going to be a filter. So if you know what you're looking for, I always recommend typing and searching, and then going from there instead of having to scroll up and down through an entire list of options. So direction here, you show all these calls are internal. What makes them internal? Well, it's the user type. So when the user type field is populated, this tells us that the user is, or the not necessarily it's a user, but the device, the object, whatever is on this side of the call is somehow recognized as part of the WebEx environment. So these calls, all where the calling party user type is user, this means that the call is coming from a person. So calling party is the party that initiates or places the call. So if I were to call Dre, I'm the calling party in the record. And then the called party is also populated. So an internal call means this party and this party are both within the WebEx calling or within your WebEx calling environment. So in this case, a lot of these calls are going to voicemail in these first few results, but you can see here, we've got calls one here, user to voicemail here. Punk group is delivering a call to a user. So I mean, anything where it's from one internal object to another is going to be tagged as internal in the reports. And so here, user to voicemail, and if we have one here, user to user. So Julie is calling Damien. If I'm calling Dre, it's an internal call. So then changing it from internal to originating. Originating is going to give us outbound calls, or calls that originated within the WebEx organization. So we'll research. You can see here the calling party user type is now populated. Couples are coming from local gateway. There's a couple of there should be some users here. Again, user. So if the device or the object initiating or creating the call or placing the call is within the WebEx environment and it's going out, it's leaving the environment, going somewhere else, going to the outside world, then the called party user type will be blank. And this tells us that the call is outgoing, or in this case, what we call is originating. So we can see all these calls are going out to different numbers. And then the user type is blank. Then on the opposite of originating, we have terminating, which means in this case it would be like an inbound call, or it connects or terminates at a device or an object that's internal to WebEx. So in this case here we have all these different numbers outside of our organization. They're coming in. In this case, they're coming in on this cube, on the inbound trunk, and then they're going to a device or an object or someone or a person who's internal to our organization. So using the direction criteria is a really easy way and simple way of just filtering on one or more directions. So if you want to exclude internal calls, what you can do is either pick originating or terminating, and this will exclude internal calls, or on all of these options where you have the word is, if you just simply click on is, it becomes is not. So if I want to exclude internal, click on is not or is to make it is not. And then if I view the results, all of the results will either be originating or terminating. So here, originating, terminating, originating. You can use this in the report. I built a sample report a few minutes before the call here. I'm looking for all my calls, and then I'm just, grouping on the call direction. So in this case, if I go back to reports, I have my grouping by directions reports. My search set is just looking at calling party number ends with X. So I'm looking for anything with a calling party number, and then I'm taking that data and I'm grouping it based upon the call type. Now, if I only care about, originating or terminating, then I can go back to my report here, build my search set, add direction to the reports, add the criteria, and just say internal is not, and then save it. And then when I run it, well, this one was current and previous day. So when I run the report, so now I have, should be the same reports. Yeah, same report, same data, same date and time range. But now I'm excluding the internal calls. So now I have, the originating and terminating calls, so I can see how many calls were in, how many calls were actually out, how many calls were inbound, and I can filter it. This is looking at the entire organization, but I can filter it for a group of people, a group of users, one user, a hunt group, however I want to do it. We can see the different call directions here. So like I said, at a high level, this is great for just basic. I want to, I only want a certain call direction. But then when you're getting into much smaller reports where you're looking for like calls to or from a certain user, hey, I want to see all the inbound calls from a user or outbound calls from a user, or I just want, hey, this was one number called in, and I want to see where they went to. So I want to isolate a call. I know what direction it went, but I want to isolate a call. You don't necessarily need to use the direction criteria. Like for example, we get a lot of requests or tickets open where, hey, I want to search for a call. I want to find a call. I want to see where it went to. I want to see who they talked to. And so I have their caller ID, and I want to see where this call went to, who they spoke with. Maybe they left an angry voicemail, or they called and complained and said so and so hung up on them, or so and so was rude. And so if I have a caller ID, take a caller ID just out of sample data here. I think it's this one right here. Let's just pretend we're not looking at this record. I want to say, hey, I have a caller ID. I know they called into the system. How do I find that, or how do I identify that record? You don't need direction, because really direction is if you want more of a high level inbound outbound kind of report. In this case, within the software, another way to kind of identify call direction is by either looking at the originating party or the terminating party. So originating party kind of goes back to the call direction. This is the party that places the call. So under the originating party criteria, we have the calling party number, the user, the manager, the user type. This is all whenever you see the word calling, that's the party or the object or entity that initiated the call. So it would be like an outbound call from this number. So it could be outbound as in outbound to the PSDN. It could be outbound as in outbound to an internal, to another internal number. So if I have, or it could be inbound, the calling party number. If it's a caller ID, if it's a number that's not internal to your phone system, the calling party number then becomes the caller ID. So if I have a number, I want to search, they're the outside caller. I want to see where they went to. Select calling party number, add the criteria, and then throw in the number here. Now, whenever I'm searching for a 10-digit or more phone number, sometimes we see like a +1 in the data. So if we're getting a +1 and we don't include it here, and you're searching in your operator's equals, you will not find the call. So the equals is a one-to-one match. So what I normally do, I always go change it from equals to ends with, and I always leave off the +1. That way, if there is or if there isn't a +1, searching for ends with, and then the number always finds or always matches the data. So if I look for this number here, view the results, we'll search for a second, and then it should pull back, I think, 2 records. Yep, 2 records. So this caller here, yesterday, they called in twice. I can see they called in twice. They hit this number both times. They called in within, 10 seconds of each other, and they both hit the auto attendance, and then that was it. They and then here direction terminating. So again, it's inbound. I know it's inbound because the calling party number is my number, and direction just kind of confirms it. Now in this case, if I want to see the entire call, I could also go to sequences, view the results, and then it'll show me the entire sequence, which is just basically they went, here's both sides of the same call leg. So yeah, they called in, both instances, they hit the auto attendant, and that was it. There's nothing after the call. So both times they called in, and they hung up before it can go anywhere else. So yeah, so looking at like calling party number is a great way to identify the person that or the object or number that placed the call. So calling party number, when you look at the caller ID, it's an inbound call. If you have the extension or some sort of internal number, it's going to be either an outbound internal call or a true like outbound call to the PSTN. And then if you're looking for like an extension or something like inbound to an extension or something out to a number, hey, so yeah, I want to see which employee called this number or who called this extension. Just get rid of calling party number and then change it to called party number. So if I look for all calls to an extension, again, I'm going to change it from equals to ends with because I have a 10-digit number. View the results. And then now I have all the, actually, we go back, change to events. So I don't care about the entire sequence. I just want to see all the calls to this number and not anything before or after it. Now I have all the calls, so all the events into this number here because it's the call party number. So these are calls into this number. I have a mix of calls. So I've got some internal calls and some terminating calls. That's because, call party number, can be either be, internal, like an internal inbound call or a true inbound call to the number. Now, if I only cared about, the internal calls to this number, I could definitely add in direction. Go here, add internal, and then view my results. Now, instead of getting the inbound internal and the inbound calls, now I just have the internal calls to that extension. Okay, then going back. And then the other option, if when you're looking for a number or you're searching for a number or you're in a user, we do have, I'm picking on calling party number because that's one of the easiest to use. But if you're searching for a specific user or maybe like a manager's or the user's manager, you can use these different values, calling or called to help you identify the call direction. And then the other option, if you keep scrolling down, we have the criteria that combine the two into one. So now we're looking for both sides of the call. So if I want to see, hey, I want to see all inbound, outbound calls, to or from a specific number or a specific extension. I just want to see everything from a number. In this case, you can select both of these, calling party number and called party or calling and call party numbers or user or whatever. But in this case, I always go with the combination criteria here. So if I'm looking for, let's pick a different extension, 3814. Here equals, it's a 4-digit number. I know it's 4 digits, so I'm gonna keep it at equals. And then view the results. I'll see the all of the inbound and outbound traffic for this extension. So there's 4 calls. This call is a call from a hunt group. It's internal, but this call comes into 3814. I know that because 3814 is in the called party number. So 3814 was called, and then in these final 3 records, 3814 was the calling party number. So I know this is an outbound internal number or outbound internal call. So this call outbound internal, and this call here as well is an outbound, a true outbound call from this extension. So, but like I said, you don't necessarily need to filter only on calling party number. You can use any of the calling or call party fields or the combo fields down here to help you kind of search and build reports looking at the call direction. Even here, if we go back to reports and we look at the detail by extension, this is one of our templates that our users can download off our website. This is looking at just basically detail either by extension or by phone number. So it's looking for all the calls either in or out from an extension or a phone number. If you look at the search sets, we're using the calling or called party number again. Here's that 3814. So this report here would give us the same data really as, or the same 4 calls for this here. So if I cancel detail by extension, if I run it, go search time window, we're doing current previous day, let's do previous day. And here we go. Here's our 4 calls, same 4 calls in our call history search, but now we're just including it as a report. So All right, I'll pause here. Send it back to Dre. Anything Q&A wise?
All right. Right now, we do not have anything in Q&A. I'll give everybody here another 30 seconds or so if they want to post something in that Q&A panel and let us know if you have any questions regarding what Mike's talking about with those inbound and outbound and internal Webex calling. Need some we need the Jeopardy music going on. All right. Well, doesn't look like we're gonna have any questions today. You did such a good job, Mike, that no one had any questions. If you guys do have any further questions, please let us know. Support@verify.com does automatically open up a ticket to our SE team, so we'll get with you as soon as possible. Well, thank you, Mike, for that. That was pretty informative there.
You're welcome, Aaron. I will stop sharing.
Sounds great, sir. Let me go ahead and share my screen back out. Make sure I do the right one. Hold on a second. Wrong one. There we go. That's the right one. All right. And the moment we all have been waiting for, the winner of this week's Amazon gift card. And the winner is Sean Lynch. Congratulations. Your account manager will reach out to you shortly and get you that gift card. Once again, thank you guys all for joining this week. Don't forget, next week we have John and Victor, and they're going to be going over how to use capacity utilization to assist with staffing needs. Is that right? I might have messed that up. I believe that is right. That is correct. Okay, sorry. For some reason, it reminded me of a different one, and I was like, wait, did I put that in right? Yes. So, how to use capacity utilization assisting with staffing needs next week, October 11th. Thank you, everybody, again, and we'll see you next week. Have a good day.